Welcome to American Iron Gym's podcast. Jesse Anderson, Tamara Lopes, and we have a very, 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 very special guest today.
There you go with those too many berries again.
This is Travis Ortmayer. If you are familiar with strongman at all, you know who Travis is. So we're very honored to have him. And we're going to talk to Travis about his life.
Thank you for that introduction.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
yeah,
Very nice.
You're welcome. So, Travis, you're here in Reno now, but this has been a long journey of your life to get here, right? Kind of tell us about you. Where'd you start? Where'd you grow up?
Wow, like you said, it's a long journey. It's a long story for a long journey. I was born in Tahoe, so this is like a big circle for my life to end up back in Reno. And I say end up, but I don't mean end up. I actually really, really enjoy being here. You know, some about the mountains, but as far as the journey, my life of lifting, I started at 11 years old, just working out in my garage. So
did your dad work out? Is that how you had weights in your garage?
He always ran. He was a runner. But he did have a weight bench in the garage, and I remember always playing on it as a kid, not really knowing much about it. And I had a next door neighbor who worked out in his garage, and I was like 7 years old at the time, and I think I bothered him every day he was in there.
Nice.
It was always something that appealed to me, and of course Arnold Schwarzenegger is my hero. So Conan the Barbarian, it's like I want to be like that guy.
Yeah.
So I just loved lifting, and never really got into team sports, never did anything else in high school. I'd leave as fast as I could from class and go home and work out in my garage.
So you never did any high school sports?
No, nothing on a team. I did as a kid, but nothing past middle school.
Nice, okay. You just had the passion for weights.
Yeah, it was iron bug bit early, I guess.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. So after high school, what did you do?
Well, my parents had moved to Houston, and I went to high school in Atlanta. And so the day after I graduated, they moved me out to Houston, and started working out at a local gym there. Took a year off before going to college, got a job, bought a car, which is a story in itself, but
all right, well, you've intrigued me. What's the story with buying the car?
Well, for reasons I won't go into detail. I wasn't allowed to get a license at 16. I had to wait till I was 18. But something with Gwinnett County Police Department. They just misunderstandings.
Of course.
Nothing major.
It usually is a misunderstanding, right?
But I had finally gotten my license after we were in Texas, and drove out to see my friends at the end of the summer after I graduated. And I borrowed my dad's car because he was going out of town on a business trip.
Did he know about it?
He did, of course.
Oh, okay.
Later.
Just wondering, you're right.
But I spent a week out there and then drove home. And I remember leaving Texas after saving money all through high school. I had $3,046 in my bank account. My mom was the co-signer on the account. Got home from Atlanta, and I had $46 in my bank account, and my mom says, "Oh, you bought the car, and you got a $425 a month payment. You need to get a job."
Oh, surprise.
Okay. So, 2 weeks later, I had to get that money. But,
nice.
It was one of those things, I guess, if I don't have time to think about it, I do better. If you throw me in head first, I always manage to land on my feet. So, give me too much time to think, I'll screw it up every time.
Awesome. So same thing in strongman, right? You don't think about it, you just do it.
Well, actually getting into strongman was kind of the same thing. A good friend of mine that my dad and I were training with. By the way, I got my dad into training after I'd been working out through high school. So
we got to meet your dad. Your dad trains here, and
yeah.
So I knew your dad way before I knew you. He's pretty amazing. I really like your dad. He's pretty cool.
He's inspirational. Let's put it that way. The guy is 69 years old, and you would never guess
Ever.
he was in his 50s. I mean, he's tough. He's a mouth. You know,
I haven't experienced that side of him yet.
He's a likable character, so
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
is a
you
character.
can't help but love him. And when it came to the tenacity of training for strongman and getting into the sport, he dove in head first,
Nice.
or mouth first, I should say, and just talked his way in. And, you know, he's
Great.
been fighting with me ever since on rep after rep. But that's been a fun experience.
Training with your dad?
Being able to
Yeah.
travel and compete with my dad right there, and then go and work with him. And
So you said that it's an interesting story on how you got into strongman. Tell me about that. How did you get into strongman? I mean, it's not the top 5 sports in the U.S.
Well, I remember training with, like I said, a friend of mine named Marshall White. And if you look up 2009 World's Strongest Man, he was in Group 2. He made it to World's Strongest Man with me. But years before that, I remember working out with him one day, and I was more bodybuilding oriented. He was more powerlifting oriented. And he said he wanted to do a strongman contest. And I remember thinking, like, those guys on World's Strongest Man? Are we kidding? We'll never be that strong. That's crazy. But he found the Texas State Championships and decided he was going to compete. And so being his training partner, I was going to go up there and help him. And we made the trip up, and getting signed in the night before, the promoter, his name's Chad Smith, talked me into signing up. So I said, you know, what the hell, I'm here. I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
And then Marshall said the few words that changed my life right after that. He said, man, I'm glad you signed up, because now, at least now I know I won't take last. So like,
bad thing to say to,
really?
to an athlete,
Okay.
right?
You know,
That's a challenge. Nice.
I'd never really competed in anything, nothing as far as solo sports went, except a couple bodybuilding shows in high school. So I didn't really know the competitive fire that I had until he said that.
Wow.
And it kind of woke up a beast. And
Nice.
he did take last in that competition.
Nice. So you said you did some bodybuilding in high school?
I did, yeah. Like I said, I wanted to be Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Okay.
And so they had a fundraiser for the football team, and both my junior and senior year I competed.
And how'd you do?
I didn't place, even though I was the only person who actually knew how to pose, like a lat spread. It's like, I wasn't on the football team, so there might have been a little politics.
Yeah.
That's when I kind of realized that the subjective nature of bodybuilding didn't appeal to me too much. So,
yeah, I understand.
and then in strongman, realized at that competition, either you lift it or you don't.
Right. Same with powerlifting,
and
right?
powerlifting is,
it's either you lift the weight up or you don't.
Yeah, exactly. And after that competition, though, I was in Denison, Texas. It was a 2002 Texas Strongest Man. I dreamt of those events and how they felt, how they worked, how I moved, how I'd lift them, every aspect. I would dream about it every single night for probably 6 to 8 months afterward. And I just knew then and there that was my calling.
That was your passion.
You know, and I was actually thinking about putting weightlifting on the back burner and focusing more on school and getting a job, and I think God stepped in and said, nope, to hell with that. Here's what you're doing. And that was it, you know.
So you said you took a year off before you went to college. Did you end up going to college?
Well, yeah, I did. And I should have had a degree. I've got I have about a year left, I would say. And I would have had my biotech degree.
Nice.
Problem with biotech is you have to be in a lab and actually present to do the stuff. And I was competing. I had just gotten my pro card, and I was all about traveling. So I was going to take another semester off, and I think I'm like 11 years later. It's like, I'm on the 15-year program.
That works.
But I'm actually thinking about taking some classes over at university here, and at least getting a biology degree. Something.
Right. Good.
How long did it take you to get your pro card?
From the day I competed, it was August 2nd, 2002. Started training after that specifically for strongman. And 2003, went through the amateur nationals, thinking, because I had won a couple contests, thinking that I was going to do pretty well. And I mean, I held my own, but I got my ass kicked by the guys at the top. And I realized that there was a whole nother level. And the next year I won. And so that got me my pro cards.
You know, I have seen they call it this flipping the switch, right? And I've seen you flip the switch. And the look in your eye. And that's amazing. That you can't teach people that. You either have it or you don't. I truly believe that. Yeah. And I think only the top athletes really have that ability to flip that switch on command. So it was fun watching you. The first time I'd met you, you were out doing circus dumbbells. And I saw you flip the switch, and I saw you get pissed off because you didn't get a rep. Turn around, get that look in your eye, turn back around, and do 3 more reps on a circus dumbbell. With the dumbbell that no one else can lift, right? Pretty impressive.
I don't usually remember those moments very well.
Yeah, that's
I hear about them. I hear about them. Yeah. People tell me, but
we'll have to video it next time.
I guess maybe I've been known for being a little intense.
That's all right.
Here or there.
There's nothing wrong with being intense.
As far as flipping that switch, I think it can be taught a little bit. There's certain levels. There's people who definitely have it naturally.
Yeah.
But I think, and this has been one of my goals, my quests in life, was to kind of figure out how to get that mind-body connection and really teach someone how to dial in to the best of their potential. And using myself as a guinea pig, I take notes and try to keep up with the journey.
It was the other thing that I observed when I was watching you that day was your ability to teach and to motivate others. You had 3 women out there. One of them, who's been a member, Lisa's been a member of this gym for a very long time, and she's an amazing woman. She's a great woman. She doesn't have a lot of confidence in herself. And she's finally found a passion in something that she owns with strongman type training. And it's great to see her blossom and develop. But there's things that she could do. She just absolutely was never able to be successful at them. And one of them was the circus dumbbell. And working with her for just a little while with you teaching her technique, not only physically, but mentally, she was able to do that for reps. And seeing the joy in her, I was like, he may not know it, but I recognize that that's his calling. Seriously, man, you have an ability to teach
I didn't know that she
and motivate. Yes,
hadn't been able to do it.
Yeah, never. So
that's nice to hear. That's kind of cool.
It was very cool. It was very cool to witness and seeing people grow and have confidence in themselves and change. And that was neat. That was neat to observe. So thank you for sharing that.
Well, I can't really take credit. I know I've got a kind of a gift for teaching. I've been trying to do it for a long time, but it's my family, both sides, is teachers and preachers, so they've been sharing their thoughts, shall we say, for as far back as we can go. So I think that maybe I was just following suit with my forefathers, so to speak.
Well, it's a gift. So I want to go back a little bit. You said you got your pro card. How do you get a pro card in strongman?
But the system was for the North American Strongman, NAS. I think there's 2 independent amateur organizations now. When I was competing, it was certain contests were what they called Platinum Plus. Okay. They had to have a minimum criteria as far as the weight, the number of competitors, just how hard they were in general, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. And then if you win that competition, you earn your pro card.
Nice. So you have to win. It's not placing or
Yeah,
win.
as far as I've seen, it's always been just the first place finisher.
And are there weight classes? Are there height classes? What's the...
In the amateur division, there's weight classes. They'll usually have a light, medium, and a heavy.
Okay.
231 and under will be the lightweight division, which may have a couple different classes. I know. 231 and over is usually like super heavyweight in any other sport, but you're considered a little guy. In this one. At 300 pounds, you're still kind of a little guy in strongman.
Wow.
The middle weights are usually that 232 to 265 or 275, and then anything over around 275 is considered heavyweight.
And for the world's strongest man, the stuff that we all know and watch on TV, Kazmaier and that group, are they all heavyweights? Is that...
In the pro division, they have lightweight pros up to 231, but the ones that you see on TV, all those guys are technically 232 and over, but they're 350, 360.
So that's average weight?
Yeah, I'd say 350 is probably the average now, because you've got guys like Brian Shaw and Half Thor Bjornsson, 6'8", 6'10", 420 pounds.
And still have a six-pack.
And and they're lean and they can run and move like.
I think that's one thing that the TV doesn't. I mean, people don't realize how big these guys actually are.
I think you've got a good point there. I remember in 1999, Todd Harris, the guy who works with Bill Kazmaier, World's Strongest Man on ESPN, he was standing next to Magnus Samuelsson, and he put his clothes on. So he had shorts, which, were above Magnus's knees, were mid-shin on Todd. And the sleeves that would come down to here, which would be like short sleeves on Magnus. I mean...
These guys are just massive humans.
Anywhere I go, I'm usually the biggest, or one of the biggest guys around.
Yeah.
And I feel like a kid sometimes with these guys. They're huge. Looking up, and I hate looking up at people because...
Welcome to my life.
And just everybody, just like this, and you're like, how do you guys do this all the time? I mean, if I was short, I'll put it there for you, because I have new respect for people.
For short people? Thanks, asshole. Okay.
That cheap shot.
That's what I think is so cool about strongman too, is that, I mean, they're not only extremely massive, I mean, super strong, but I mean, they have to be athletic too. I mean,
so athletic.
Someone like yourself who's just a little power lifter, I mean, don't even walk out a squat, and I mean, you guys are,
as far as the strength sports go, it's a whole nother aspect when you lift vertically or in a vertical plane of motion, but then you have to take it somewhere.
Exactly.
Most strength sports or bodybuilding, powerlifting, Olympic lifting, it's all vertical plane
on
of motion.
one plane, right.
And then strongman, you not only have to do maximum effort and maximum weights, you have to sustain that power output for up to 2 minutes sometimes.
Yep. And you have to do it in really bad positions for your body.
A lot of the time,
It's horrible.
Well, that whole lift with your knees, not your back,
it doesn't apply. So, one of the things that I heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard that you were a stone specialist. That was something that you were really, really, really good at. Is that true?
I guess.
He's so humble. No, seriously, right? I mean, you're
I
very
don't
humble.
To say anything like that, but I was pretty good at stones. I have a few world records in it.
In the stones? Well, I just have a few world records.
Who doesn't, right?
Right.
So what were some of these world records?
I would say one I'm probably most proud of, or the two I'm most proud of, was I was first man to load over 500-pound stone to 4 feet. It was a 520, it was a 23-inch diameter, huge stone.
Wow.
And I had the heaviest set. I'm not sure if it still holds. I think it still holds, but it was somewhere from 315 pounds to 480 pounds, 5 stones. I know the last two was 440 and 484, something like that.
So I don't know if everyone that's watching this understands what a stone is. but it's a round, really, really, really heavy cement ball, rock.
Just a concrete
but there's nothing,
ball.
but it's smooth. It's a ball. I mean, there are no handles on it. There's no divots in it. There's no place to grab onto it securely. It's round. It's a ball.
They're hard to deal with.
It is very difficult. Very difficult.
We use the tacky, which kind of helps adhere a little bit, but I mean...
No. No.
I mean, from what I understand, there's no real, like, proper form. There's no, like, good way. I mean,
the
to a certain extent, I mean...
I've taught a lot of people how to do stones, and I had to break them of a lot of bad habits. The most important thing is getting your setup before you even bend over to pick it up. You have to have everything ready, because if you're not, if you fumble around while you're trying to grip the stone, I've always said that stones have a mind of their own, and they will mind screw you if you let them. They'll sit there and they'll tell you, no, you can't lift me, no, you can't. And they'll usually win if you let them, if you fumble with them. So you got to stand over the top, find where you're going to grip, take a breath, and then dive and pull.
Commit to
and
it, right?
Yeah,
just commit.
Solid, 100%, because if you don't have it...
Isn't that life, too?
Yeah, this is a good point, yeah. Yeah.
Just saying, right?
You know, I guess we have or at least a lot of people have a way of dipping their toes in. And
right. And never really putting their whole foot in, right? Never committing to things.
You never really know what you're capable of unless you dive into it and give it everything you got.
And that's one thing that we've talked a lot about in here is that everything we do in here applies to life.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
I can see that. Yeah.
So, and I see strongman even more so.
I think, well, it's, I mean, like you say, if you love something and you want to do it, whatever it is, if it's real estate, if it's
right,
you know, repairing computers, if it's lifting, if it's
passion, right, passion, whatever.
It's find what you love, do what you love, and
commit,
and
dive in,
do it with everything you have. Absolutely,
prepare and just go for it.
And don't be afraid to screw up or fail and miss a lift, or you know.
So you got to World's Strongest Man. And you competed in World's Strongest Man.
A couple times.
Yeah, which is pretty amazing. I mean, that's the 1%, less than 1 percentile that ever actually get to do that, right? That's huge. How was that? What was that like? Competing with the strongest men in the world. I mean, truly, I think some of the best athletes because of what you have to do. Like you said, it's not on a linear plane. There's multiple aspects of strength and conditioning that you guys have to perform at.
Yeah, you can't have a weak link.
You can't. You can't. That's your limiting factor is 1 weak link,
exactly,
right? So,
yeah.
How did that feel?
You know, at the time, I guess you kind of get caught up in the ride. You don't realize just how cool whatever you're doing is.
How accomplished it is.
You know, it's like, essentially, I got paid to work out in other countries with a lot of my friends. And so, I mean, it was like...
What a dream job.
It really is. You know, and you look back.
Nice.
At the time, you get caught up in it and you start not appreciating all the things that you get to do. Like, I mean, I got to see the whole world almost. I've been to 6 continents and like 30 plus countries on somebody else's dime. You know, so looking back, I appreciate it a lot more.
Yeah.
And I wish that I had stayed in some places and made the most of it, just being a tourist.
Do you regret anything? Any regrets?
Yeah, there's a ton of regrets. I mean, I've got a lot of regrets, but it's hard to regret it when the things that we've done and the things we regret are part of what make us who we are.
Absolutely.
You know, I regret working out the day I tore my pec and the day I tore my bicep. Or you have a regret like that?
No, yeah. Pec tears.
Well, see, if I could teach anything,
we're healing him through.
Right?
Yeah. So
builds character, it does, yeah. Yeah, but
proper rehab.
Yeah, I was going to say, rehabbing is essential. Prehab and rehab, constant. And, but as far as other regrets, I mean, we could go into that.
Oh.
That'd be a long story. You know.
So you did your 2 World's Strongest Men, and then what happened? Why'd you not continue in strongman?
It got serious here, didn't it? You know, the cracks started appearing when, you know, I'd gotten a couple injuries. And like in 2010, halfway through World's Strongest Man, I broke my ankle in the finals. I was in first place at the time.
Oh.
So I went on to finish, but that injury stayed with me for about a year after that. And I competed 6 months later at the Arnold, so I started to really hate working out because I was in constant pain. Always hurting, and not being able to perform the way I wanted to. So frustration started to get in that way. So you got this constant pain, chronically being frustrated, and I mean, it took its toll on me physically. It took its toll on my home life. You know, my wife, she's having to deal with a guy who's unhappy in life at the moment, at that particular time. So the thing that I had grown up loving, my passion, was dead in me. It was like everything I'd worked for kind of just started to dry up, and it's like and of course when that happens, you get this bitterness, you know, when you start to lose things that you fought so hard for. But it just kind of was a perfect storm of a lot of things that culminated, and I took some time off, which led to about 3 years away from working out. And
from working out at all? From
I tried here and there,
Uh-huh.
and for the first year, I'd average a few times a month, and the second year was down to like once a month. The third year was, I don't think I went to the gym at all. And I had a gym in my garage, so I didn't do any working out. I just kind of despised weightlifting at the time. Of course, being angry in your life and unhappy, you start to tear apart the things you love, and that was
one of them. Right?
One of them, yeah.
We talked about weak links being a limiting factor. What was your weak link?
In strongman, I'd say just raw brute power.
That's your weak link?
That was my, like overhead pressing, strict pressing would be my weak link. Raw squatting would be my weak link.
Form or?
I was good on form. Just didn't put enough time
into it.
Squatting. I would deadlift instead or something else.
Because you liked it.
Exactly. Or, you know, it was an ego thing.
I get it.
And I hated doing abs. So I'm thinking
so that core stability.
My core, yeah. There's quite a few things that I could have.
So looking back now, you kind of see what those weak links are, and you're training again.
Yeah, and after that layoff, 3 years essentially, I dropped my body weight over 100 pounds down to the exact same weight I was when I started my very first contest.
Wow.
So, I mean, essentially, the 10 years I was in strongman was gone at that point. It's like it was all for naught, because I was right back where I started.
Okay, well, I'm going to jump in here and go bullshit on you.
Well, that's right.
It's not gone. It's amazing. And when you develop a muscle, it's amazing how quickly that muscle memory comes back.
Exactly.
So
I've been enjoying that ride. No jokes. Yeah, I mean, the other side of the coin was I had all the knowledge.
Right.
Yeah.
Just as valuable as what to do.
Probably more lessons on what not to do than what to do. But, you know, getting to now, and you brought up the point about weaknesses, having holes in my foundation, as I kind of put it. Getting to restart with the knowledge that I now have, and being able to make faster improvements and gains,
solid, right? Without the holes and cracks in the foundation.
That's exactly what I've been focusing on, was all the things I thought were weaknesses before. I'm prioritizing them, and I'm making sure that that foundation that I'm building now is way more solid than the one I built my previous career on. So it's kind of like tearing down the old structure and building
it better.
A better,
foundation.
more solid, no cracks, no hole. Well, fewer cracks and fewer holes. I'm sure there's still plenty to learn, but I also am enjoying doing it again.
That makes me happy to hear that. After losing that love and that passion that you had, being able to find it again.
Well, I was lucky that I found my passion early in life.
Yeah.
I was lucky that I always knew I loved working out. And that's probably what made it hurt so much more when it was kind of taken away from me. Yeah. You know, having something you love being ripped away. And that wasn't the only thing that was ripped away from me. But the joy that I have and the appreciation that I have for it now, I never would have had otherwise. Wow. So,
well, Tammy and I were actually talking about kind of the same thing earlier today. I mean, going into a competition, I mean, everything is just focused on this competition, but I mean, taking a step back and, like what you said, I mean, just enjoying training and working out.
Yeah.
Enjoying the journey and not just the
instead of
destination,
about, I have to
right?
hit this number, you know.
Yeah. It's exactly it.
Yeah, if you have a bad training day going into competition, I mean,
if that's your sole focus,
your whole week. I mean,
and you bring a good point up. I mean, when that's your sole focus, and to be successful, you kind of have to have that focus.
Oh, absolutely.
But I guess if you're lucky enough to be able to focus enough to be successful, you've got to be smart enough to realize that you need to set a little time each day aside to do exactly what you're saying, appreciate the journey, realize that what you're doing is something special, something that other people wish they could do.
Right.
And if they only realize they can do it.
Sure.
And, you know, maybe setting that time aside each day, you can kind of make notes so that you can teach other people how to enjoy their journey.
We all have our challenges, and we've all been told, talking to you, knowing Jesse and myself personally, that we couldn't do something, right? I was told I shouldn't continue in powerlifting. It's my first nationals from the U.S. team coach. He said, you know, this really isn't the sport for you, because I have really long femur links, I have narrow hips, I have teeny joints, and basically my answer was, watch me. And that was the best thing that anyone could have said to me, because, you know, don't tell me I can't do something. And I know from talking to you the other night and hearing what you said, it put a smile on my face, because being there and having people tell me, you can't come back, you can't do this, why are you even trying to do this, right? And that's insane, because we see athletes now that are hitting their peak in their 40s.
Oh, yeah.
One of the gals that
especially in the strength sports, especially. One
of the gals we got into powerlifting years and years ago is still powerlifting. She competes USA powerlifting and IPF. And at 44, she just set an open world record. Leanne Blind.
Oh, so, yeah, okay.
Yeah, Leanne.
She used to train with the fellow strongman, Kevin Nee.
Yeah, because she did strongman as well. Absolutely. So Bob got Leanne into powerlifting way back when she was an assistant strength coach at UNR. So
that's pretty cool.
She's like my little sister, and I'm so proud of her. But she is a perfect example of
just breaking the rules.
Of saying, hey, no, I'm not. I don't buy into that. I'm not going to let you dictate that I can't do something. And I see that same thing in you, that drive on that ability to have that internal strength that will get you wherever you want to go. That's neat.
Internal strength or tenacity or
stubbornness,
right? Or whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
I always said that if it wasn't for weightlifting, I would either be in prison for homicide or I would have self-medicated myself in other ways. But it's seriously, man, it's my addiction, right? And they tend to be a little aggressive, and so it helps to manage that.
I think you're absolutely right. It's probably saved the sanity of a lot of people.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people from the lack of sanity in those individuals.
Absolutely.
Well, you know, as far as breaking new ground, setting new standards, and believing in yourself, and being able to do what everybody says is impossible. Yeah, I've got to mention my father, because, like I said, he's 69.
Oh,
and he started working out with me in his mid-50s, and got into strongman, I believe, at 56.
Wow.
But he got 6 national titles and 1 world title for master strongman. Lightweight. But, but he's you know, he was always kind of a skinny guy. He was never thought of as being super athletic or super strong, or he never thought of himself these ways. But
he is.
Yeah. He just decided, well, that's what I want to do, so that's what he did. And
incredible.
It kind of gives me no excuse to ever fall short.
Any of us, right?
And then a lot of the time, and this is unfortunate, I had to deal with this the last couple of years, was people that know they can't do whatever it is. They want to tear others down and suck them into that hole with them.
Yep.
And, you know, when you're in a gym, especially one like this, and I've got to thank you because you got a lot of people here that not only believe in themselves, they believe in everyone around them.
Absolutely.
And when you create that kind of atmosphere, it makes anything possible.
Thank you. That's our dream of creating a gym, a community, a family that supports each other, right?
Exactly what it is, yeah. I mean, and you've got, like half a dozen 900-pound squatters in here?
Yeah. You know, yes.
It's funny. Pretty cool.
Because, I trained at a 24-hour, it was like a month ago. And I was doing, back and bicep roll, bodybuilding, workout. And I grabbed some dumbbells, and some guy, waddles over and picks up, one right next to me, and really? You want to do this? And here,
right.
it's the exact opposite.
And it doesn't matter if you're benching the bar or you're benching 500 pounds. The support that you get around you and respect is the same.
That's...
Right? It's not, there isn't that judgment, I guess.
It comes from how hard that person pushes.
Absolutely. That's absolutely it.
We had this thing called the Unithon back in Houston where we would put a harness on and hook my dad's Suburban up to us, and we'd have to pull the Suburban all the way around in a complete circle around this storage unit. And it was 1,200 feet. We measured it off. It was 1,230 feet, something like that. But some guys could do it in a couple minutes. I think the record at that length was around 3 minutes, something, 2:30, something like that. But some guys would take 12, 15, 16 minutes. But when it came to that, and because it was at the end of the day after we'd done all the rest of the training, the new people that came out always had, that was like a rite of passage, the initiation. It didn't matter how long it took them to finish. It just mattered if they finished.
If they didn't quit. Right?
That was all we wanted to see, because first off, you're dying at the end of a strongman workout.
Right.
And then to be tasked with dragging that thing around the unit. Just, it's a measure of heart. And we wanted people with heart out there, and we wanted to show people who didn't maybe have the confidence in themselves to get that confidence and to see that they could do something incredible. And when you put that, you inspire that in somebody, you create a whole new person.
You do. And it translates into their life. Things that they were afraid to try, or things that they didn't think that they could accomplish, they then revisit that in their life and bring it into their life, and they succeed. And it is such an amazing transformation to watch.
It is.
Pretty cool. So I'm so blessed, and well, we are so blessed because Travis is going to share his knowledge with us. He's going to do two things. One is he is going to do a strongman seminar. And so it'll be a day of strongman training. The first part of the day is going to be programming how to work out in a gym to be able to shore up those initial foundations and cracks and prepare to be able to do strongman events. And then the second part is going to be talking about some of the more common strongman events and tricks of the trade, right? And how to...
There's certainly plenty of those.
Yeah.
Strongman's got 30 plus events, and we've done them all. So yeah, I'm actually looking forward to this. I like teaching. Like
You're
I said,
an
it's in my
amazing
blood,
teacher,
so.
right? So there's one thing for people that have knowledge, but there's a whole nother small percentage of people that have that knowledge that can share it and really pass it on to others. And so that's why I'm very excited about the seminar. And then the other thing that Travis will be doing is on Sunday. It'll be Strongman Sundays, and he will be putting people through a workout, and then going through one event every week, talking about the technique with that a little bit. So it's not only getting to have him push you through a workout, but also have him share some of his knowledge. So it's pretty exciting. So we're going to be starting, if everything works out. Travis is here. Can I share why you're here?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so
sure.
Travis is back to Reno because his mom is very ill. And being the person he is, he dropped everything in his life to come back here and take care of her. So that's his priority and his number one thing, of course, and we all respect and honor that. But we're hoping to start the strongman training mid-July, Sundays in mid-July, and then in the fall we'll be having the strongman seminar, which we've already heard a lot of interest in. So you guys need to kind of keep track of when that gets posted and sign up quick, because it's going to fill up quick. One of the things that Travis mentioned is it needs to be quality, so it's not going to overload the sign-ups. So there'll be a limit on how many people can sign up for it. Good?
I appreciate you saying all that. Now you're making me blush.
So anything else, Jesse? Anything else, Travis?
Just looking forward to that.
Us too, and like I said, we're honored to have you. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. Stay tuned, because we're going to have more coming up in the next few weeks.